Behold, the Samsung Q9F QLED TV, Samsung's flagship TV for 2018. It's pretty much the best LCD TV you can buy right now, but should you? Stick around. If you like tech and home theater audio video and want to see more, then you've come to the right place, because this is where we'll be unboxing and reviewing the hottest products. So subscribe now if you haven't already, and let's explore this hobby together. You ready? Let's get to it. Over the past month, I've been using the Samsung Q9F as my primary TV, and the time has flown by. Now, for those unfamiliar with the technology, Samsung QLED line are LCD TVs that uses quantum dot technology, which is an enhancement to traditional LCDs. They rely on nanocrystals to produce the red and greens that we see in the picture when they're hit by a backlight. They glow very brightly when this happens, and it's part of what helps the TV get as bright as it does. It's easily one of the brightest TVs I've ever seen, and one of the brightest available to buy today. This is great if you have a bright room or one without controlled lighting. All this brightness is nothing without control though, and this control is what helps it excels, especially in HDR. Now, it supports HDR10, HDR10+, hybrid log gamma, but doesn't have support for Dolby Vision. It has hundreds of dimmable zones that helps it to have impeccable control over the picture, which is what helps it get very dark when it needs to be, which it does very well. The TV maintained great composure in dark scenes and had an absolutely stunning black level performance. The black levels were almost as good as the OLEDs I've seen. It has a local dimming setting, which enables you to select how aggressive you want the backlight to be. It also has a contrast enhancement setting, which I think just made the images pop off the screen when I set it to high. They both had 3 settings ranging from low to high, which means you can turn them off, but I actually prefer them both set to high. But keep in mind that this may lead to some black crush, which is a loss of detail in dark scenes. It's actually quite amazing how something so bright could get so dark. It's kind of like New England. I'm amazed that somewhere so cold can also get so hot. But the good thing with this TV is that unlike New England, you can actually control it. There's an ambient light sensor which, when enabled, allows the TV to detect the ambient light in the room and adjust the brightness accordingly, so it isn't overly bright and isn't a strain on your eyes. Game mode didn't disappoint either. While playing third-person action games like God of War, linked here, or first-person shooters, there was imperceptible input lag. Game mode even has a motion enhancement setting which you can disable. I disabled it immediately because of the soap opera effect it created and the fact that I personally don't like motion enhancement. So how do you control all these features? Well, the TV runs Samsung Tizen OS, which I believe is a truly smart TV OS. It's like Android and WebOS had a smart, beautiful baby. The UI is super fast and intuitive, and both installed apps and input devices are represented as cards, and depending on the app, they are also contextual. If you hover over the Netflix app, for example, it'll show you a show that you've been recently watching, so you can jump back in without having to open the app first. Devices you connect to any one of the 4 HDMI ports are also automatically detected and set up so that they can be controlled by the TV remote. The only issue I found with this is that the TV remote doesn't work with the Apple TV 4K, but works fine with the previous 4th generation version. The remote has a very sleek and simple design, but don't let that fool you, it's very versatile. The remote doesn't communicate with the TV via IR, so it doesn't need line of sight to control it. Looking at you, Sony. And the buttons feel tactile and distinguishable. It also has the slickest way of accessing the battery compartment that I've ever seen. The design of the TV itself is quite unique. Samsung has the One Connect box, which is what houses the guts of the TV. It has 4 HDMI ports, number 4 having the audio return channel to send audio from the TV to your receiver, which includes Dolby Atmos from supported apps like Netflix and Vudu. Then there's the One Connect cable, which is just one cable. It provides power and signal to the set, so the TV can be mounted on a wall, and if you use the Samsung flush mount, then there'll be no gap. Then you have one thin paintable cable connecting the TV to the One Connect box. Because of this, the TV is thin for an LCD TV, especially one with so many zones, which can often make it thicker than its peers. The One Connect box can then be placed anywhere, but I found it curious that the back of the TV stand has just enough space for the One Connect box to slot right in the middle of it. So that's where I put mine because I had no other free space. But as you may have suspected, it's not all perfect. During my unboxing and setup, you can watch the video here by the way, I had an issue where the TV would not detect a 4K HDR signal from my Apple TV 4K. After a lot of experimenting and finding out that I have way too many HDMI cables, I found out that the TV has problems with HDMI runs over a certain distance. I had a 15-foot HDMI cable from the Apple TV to the receiver and another 15-foot from the receiver to the TV, for a total of 30 feet. And I found that the TV would only accept a 4K HDR signal at 60 Hz when the combined distance was under 21 feet. That was a very strange problem which I've never had with any other TV I've used. It's also worth noting the tendency of this TV to oversaturate the reds and greens. This is a result of how the quantum dots as a technology works, but I found the colors can be sometimes unrealistic and distracting and can pull you out of the experience. And although the black levels are great, it's not perfect, and I've noticed some slight haloing in some test scenes. The bright Sony logo, for example, in this HDR demo. It's definitely something only the most discerning eye would probably see, but it's still there. Then there's the price. This TV is expensive, and as much as I like it, and trust me, I do, I find it hard to justify the price of entry. It's currently more expensive than comparable OLEDs I've looked at, and as good as it is, I'm not sure it's a better value. Granted, there are people who this TV would make more sense for than its competition, like people worried about the limitations of OLED TVs, people with brightly lit rooms, or those who just want to give their retinas a workout every now and then. With all that said, the Q9F is an absolutely great TV which I have thoroughly enjoyed reviewing, and I'm sure would make anyone lucky enough to have it very happy. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, peace.